Welcome, everyone. I'm very, very happy, very excited for today's webinar. It's one of a series of webinars we are conducting with our partners, speak about automation, using automation within your business to empower your business, using AI within your automation as well. Today, I have TB from Make It Future, who has amazing, amazing experience with AI and automation. Before I go into an introduction, we're going to go through a very, very quick introduction. But before that, Tibi, I know you achieved some amazing results with the use case you're going to be sharing with us today. Can you just in a few seconds share with us the amazing results that you achieved?
Yeah, for sure, Leo. Thanks a lot for inviting me on this webinar. Hello, everybody. I'm TB. This is, I can say, we saved about one man of work or one person of work per month, right? So we can calculate that about 150 hours of work per month. And if we look at from a saving perspective, think about 30K saving, depending on the region or depending on your country, right? That might be different, but the potential is there, right? And we're talking about, to be honest, about a small business here. And I'll describe that more in the next slides.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I think this is definitely the value that we are looking for. So one part is the saving hours, but the other part is the business impact, right? And the business impact can be translated into revenue, but also can be translated into customer growth and customer experience. I think this is something we're going to be discussing today. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the agenda. So the first thing, we're going to go through very, very quick introduction. Then we're going to go through the introduction to building a chatbot using AI. And then we're going to go into Make. We're going to show you, TB going to show you how exactly he built the chatbot. This is a very practical webinar. We're going to go into the details how we built that. All right. So very quick introduction about Make. I hope a lot of you who are here, you are already familiar with Make. Make is an is an automation platform that also enables you to use AI, enables you to connect apps together. There are thousands and thousands of people who have been using Make for years. If you're not using Make yet, I hope this webinar today will show you the value of using Make. Tibi, can you give us a very quick introduction about Make It Future?
Sure. Make It Future, and I think you already kind of covered this. If you want, maybe to, in a nutshell, do you want to cover this first, Leo?
I think we already covered it. Yeah, let's move on.
So yeah, my testimonial to Make, okay, is the platform I use the most as a no-code platform. So guys, whoever's on this call, take 15 minutes, go test Make. I can tell you it's going to change the way you think about automation and business. So who's Make It Future? We've started with Make back in 2018, actually, before we started Make It Future. We spend a lot of time automating, and right now we are an automation agency with 26 people, and we're providing automation services on no code and other like no code platforms like Make and others like Airtable and HubSpot. And we're doing this from our development center in Romania, but we also have a presence in Germany, France, and we're actually working on all over the globe. We have customers in Israel, we have customers in North America, we have in Canada, we have in Australia, and so on. So all over the globe. Yeah, you can see here some reference from us. Not so important. Go to our website and you can find all this information.
Awesome, brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Tibi, now let's go into the exciting part. So Make It Future is an automation agency, right? But how did it start at the beginning? Because I know you had a quite a very different start in business.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nice part of nowadays of working with no code tools. You don't really have to be like a coder. You can start doing digitalization and you can do process automation with tools like Make. Back in 2018, I was running we started a company together with my co-founder Peter. We started a company called Blue Coffee Roastery. Our main goal was to ship roast coffee and ship it to our customers around Romania and Europe. And we had a e-commerce based on PrestaShop, and one of our big challenges was how do we do retargeting? How do we understand how which customer do we need to call for support? Which customer have problems? How do we aggregate all the data? And we discovered HubSpot at that time, and we wanted to apply the CRM and the marketing plans on our e-commerce, but our PrestaShop had no connection to HubSpot. And by searching and searching to find a solution to integrate, we discovered Integromat. And to keep the story short, 6 months later, all our processes in the business were automated. Okay, and we realized in about 6 months that there's a much bigger opportunity in doing business automation, and we decided to start doing an agency in help out other businesses to automate their business. And to be honest, I think it was a great journey for us. But Blue Coffee is still there. Okay, it's still live. You can find it on blu.coffee. You can order coffee all over Europe, and please do so.
Awesome. So, and now let's dive into the use case that we have today, which is still related to Blue Coffee, right? So you actually built a chatbot for this e-commerce website. Why did you have to do that, and what does this chatbot do?
So you were mentioning earlier during the KPIs, right? Because okay, savings in money and savings in time are important, right? But sometimes the customer experience is even more important. We had customers that were reaching out asking, do you know where's my order? Do you know what is the status of my order, and stuff like that. And because it was manually, we were replying from time to time. It was on a WhatsApp. Sometimes Petru was waiting for me to reply. Sometimes I was waiting on him to reply. And when the AI trend started about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were looking at how can we improve that experience. Can we build something with Make and AI, which is connected directly to our systems and can respond directly from those systems with live information. And that's why we believe offering like 24/7 support, having a chatbot that's already all the time there, it's able to be connected to our system and offers recommendations about the products. That was kind of what drove us into building this product.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think
this solution.
What you just mentioned right now is the ability of that chatbot to check specific information about the order and answer the user with this specific information. So maybe we can move on to the next step, which actually, what do you need, or what is the process of building an AI chatbot?
Yeah. So building chatbots is not something new, right? Because there were chatbots before, and also kind of powered by AI. And you can find a lot of platforms out there which can help you build like your chatbot with AI, but most of them rely only on the LLM training, and at the same time it relies maybe you upload some documents about the business, but that will not provide live data from your business, right? So when OpenAI released the function capability about a year ago, being able to allow the agent to think about, okay, I need to grab some order information. So then I have a function that can provide that information to me, right? And that's when we started looking at doing this with Make. So how does it work? We have a user is messaging the AI agent. The AI agent will get the message. The AI will go into a decision making. What does mean? It will try to understand the question, and if he already knows the answer, it will just reply back to the user. If it needs more information which is related to business knowledge, like if you have maybe a vector database, it will go towards that database, search for that information, and then go back and reply to the user. And additionally, we have what we call functions, and those functions are actions that are defined for the AI to take in order to get additional information or in order to perform an action towards your system. And with the answer from those functions, he can then reply back to the user.
That's brilliant. And like, I think another important element here is like two parts. What you have here, that what people are calling as RAG. Some people know this acronym, some people don't. So
yeah.
The RAG is a very piece of important piece of information here. And the other part is the ability to connect this bot with different application, whether there's going to be WhatsApp, whether it's going to be Slack or email as well.
For sure. So we have, I think, when we look from enhancing an AI chatbot, with Make, we have these functions which I call live connections. I like to call them because in reality, the AI agent has a direct connection towards those platforms. It could be towards a CRM, it could be towards an ERP, it could be towards e-commerce, you name it. We have what, about 1,800 applications in Make? Any of those, right? Then we have this retrieval augmented generation, which we call it RAG, which is additional information, generally organization specific knowledge, that's added to a vector database where you can query it with filters, with metadata, information that you can grab from this database, feed it towards the AI, and then get a better answer from the AI, or hopefully even a perfect answer from the AI. And then the nice part, again, because we're using Make, we can connect this AI agent to any platform, right? If that chat system has an API behind it, WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, Teams, HubSpot, any chat system with an API, a webhook system, it goes, every new message goes directly to Make. You run the AI engine, and then you get back an answer, right? Then you respond to that message from the AI.
Brilliant. So that's I think we already covered the live connections. We already covered the RAG side. Is there anything else you need to add on that side?
So maybe just to mention here on live connections, right? You think about connecting to any system, like I said, you have the API functions that are powering this, and any application that exists in Make, for that matter, any application with an API, because Make has a great SDK. It takes a couple of hours, days to create, depending on the complexity, a new application, and I encourage all of you to do that. And you can connect to any API application, right? And you can easily swap application and test the way you need, right? And you get your data into the system. And very important, don't think about just getting information inside the AI. The AI could also do actions, right? Which is, again, something very specific to these functions that are powered by Make, by allowing you to create things, right? Think about, like, you want an assistant to create a deal in your CRM, or create a new order for your e-commerce, or create a new task in your ClickUp, or whichever, right? Power actions by AI.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, if you speak a little bit about the RAG as well.
Yeah, RAG, to go a bit in details, it's a bit more complicated. I really advise people who want to learn more, go to YouTube, search for RAG, and you get a lot more information. But practically, by using Make, you can automatically embed data to vector databases like Pinecone. It's very easy to have like a watcher in Google Drive, or a watcher in your SharePoint, any of your organization where your organization data exists. And with that, you bring the with a watcher or with a webhook, and I'll explain a bit later what the webhook is, by the way, because probably some of you on the call don't know. You instantly get the information from those platforms, and you transfer it to a vector database, and then the AI will have access to it. Also important, with tools like Zero Code Kit, Cloud Convert, you can also transform the data when necessary. So you might need to, like, OCR an invoice, or you want to convert a picture to a format that's understandable by the AI, right? You can use these tools to convert that information, and you can send the data to any vectorized database with an API, right? Which makes it very, very powerful and dynamically changeable.
So I think maybe one easier way to explain RAG is that AI models usually already trained in a specific source of data, and what you do with the RAG, you are adding more learning to the AI model based on your own data, right? So like this is maybe the most simplified version of that.
We need to be careful here. A lot of time, like fine-tuning, learning, teaching the AI, it's a bit of a different process where you need to have like a very good data, which you then train the model on top. So you do a fine-tuning on a model. While RAG, what RAG does, the AI decides it needs to query on certain topics the vector database. It will get the answer from the database, and then it will feed back to the AI your question and the context of the search, right? So then the AI will understand, hey, here's the question, here's the reg information from the business. Try to reply to that question with this additional knowledge that you just got. And then you get a much proper answer than without providing it. A lot of time the AI initial training has no way to know internal business information, your, I don't know, FAQ, frequently asked questions, or contract information, or offer information. Think about very specific organization knowledge.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much. All right, so now let's go a little bit more practical on the actual agent that you built. So how does this looks like within your process?
Yeah, so think about the same process I described before, right? We have a user that's messaging the Blue Coffee website. So the way we do that, we have a chat which is embedded by like a JavaScript code to our website. Whenever a person, a customer loads the website, they have the chat widget, they click on it, and they start a conversation. This chatbot is powered by VoiceFlow. VoiceFlow, it's a service that provides these kind of widgets for chat, and it provides a way to create a logic into that for the voice chat, like different buttons for starting the conversation, and then being able to access additional data, right? Then we have the AI agent, which is inside Make, the Make AI agent, which is powered by OpenAI. This is triggered by a webhook. So a webhook is think about it like a link, right? Somebody sends a message, and then that data goes towards that link, which is it's a post of data towards that link, towards that endpoint, and then inside Make, you just get the data instantly, right? So in milliseconds. And then with that, you can connect the data that you received on this webhook to the next steps that you need to take in the flow. And we'll show that a bit live on our demo. Then the AI takes a decision. If it needs to go to one of the functions, you can see here some examples of our function is like, whenever somebody starts asking about an order, we want them to make sure it's the right person and they have the right access. So the bot, it's instructioned to ask first for the email. It will send the code and then verify the code. So then we have a function that generates and emails the code, and then we have another functions to verify the code. Very important here, like a note, if somebody plans to do that, because the idea of this webinar is for any of you to try it yourself, right? And by the way, if you want to get our blueprints to play with it, let us know and we'll send out the blueprints. Very important, when you generate the code, don't tell the AI the code, because somebody might be smart enough to keep asking questions until they get the code. We just tell the AI we send the code, the user will get the code, and the verify code function goes to a data store in Make, verifies if the code is the same, and then confirms to AI, yes, the code is correct, you can pass, and you can give it more order information to the customer, or create an order for that matter. And then we have additional functions for verify order status, verify shipping status, create order, and so on. So based on the scenarios that are powering those functions, the AI will get that instant knowledge about a user order and then reply back to the user. Very important here, the AI does not have access to all our system directly. It cannot really see all the orders in our system, all the data in our CRM. It just gets exactly the order that the customer is asking for, right? And it lives only on this conversation. And also maybe important for some of you on the call, on the OpenAI API, there's no training by OpenAI, right? So all this data, it has its privacy correlated with it, right? So we are not sharing this data with OpenAI in any way, except with the model, and their privacy is very strong on this.
Brilliant. That's awesome. So, and I think that the next step, yeah, like, I mean, what you were just showing right now, just before jumping into the demo, I just want to show the people how does it look like, how does these steps look like?
Yeah, so somebody messaged the assistant. We have a step inside VoiceFlow where you have the setup of the assistant. You can see here, whenever somebody clicks on help me with my order, there's going to be a capture of the reply from the user, and then we send that request towards this link, which is the webhook. which will send back the response from the AI, and then it will reply to the user. And then there is a loop between a conversation loop between the AI agent and the user or the customer on our website, right? And think about if you would, instead of doing this inside VoiceFlow here, if you would do that in a scenario that's starting with a WhatsApp or with a Telegram module, this will be at the same time using the same agent on inside WhatsApp and helping your customer directly in WhatsApp. The next step will be the scenario itself that gets the data with OpenAI module that's doing the computation and going over API towards OpenAI. And we're getting an answer, we're structuring the answer and sending it back to the webhook. And then we have the additional scenarios, which are function scenarios. You see, very easy. Generate a code, put that in the database, reply it back. Go to same day here on the right top side. It's our shipping provider. We get the order. It goes to same day by API. Checks if it's already shipped. Checks if it's waiting somewhere. Has the exact status of that shipping right now. Then if we generate a code, you see there is an email there. Creating an order, you see there the Shopify, like going back to Shopify to create the line items and then create the order for the customer.
Awesome. So I think we're gonna move right now into Make to actually see how to build that yourself, but also like looking at the comments on the chat. For everyone, we're gonna be sending you the blueprint by email. So after the webinar, you will all get the blueprint. Everyone who registered to the webinar will get the blueprint for these scenarios. And if you have questions, please add them in the Q&A tab, not in the chat, just add them in the Q&A tab. And at the end of the webinar, we'll be answering these questions.
Okay, so
let's go to Make. Let's show this.
Before going to Make, which is very important, let me just show you what are the different steps in order to achieve something like this. Okay, so first of all, you need to go to OpenAI website. You sign up for, not for ChatGPT, by the way, you sign up for the API, okay, very careful there. And you go to their assistant tabs and you create an assistant, right? So this is where you create a new assistant. In my case, I have here the Blue Coffee bot. And then you need to define, okay, you define the module that's using here. I'm even using, see here, an older version. I could switch it to the latest one, which is 4.0, but I'm not going to do this now. Maybe we're going to have an issue with it. So then we have the instruction. So I recommend you write as good as possible instruction to make it very clear what this AI is supposed to do, right? What different functionality it has. And then on the bottom side, you have the functions, which, as you can see, get shipping history, get order, create authorization code, validate user code, send the generated code, get order information, and so on, right? So these are the functions that, let's see, like this one, get order information, right? These are the functions that are powering this assistant. It might look a bit codish and a bit complicated. It's not so complicated. If just read it, right? Name, description, strict. Is it strict or not, right? You just say yes or no. And then what are the different parameters that you expect to have, that you have on this? Give me just a second.
And actually, I think one very good thing about the functions, I think TB was saying that you can actually use ChatGPT to help you write the function. So like if it's a little bit like complicated for you, how can you write such a function? You can actually use Chat GPT for that. Let's give TB a second just to go to a quieter place. And again, so for everyone, if you have questions, please add them to the Q&A, and we're gonna answer them at the end.
Okay, can you hear me right now?
We can. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. So just to make it very easy for everybody, you get this code very nicely. You copy it from here, or for that matter, you can use one of the examples, like get the weather one. It's very easy. You copy it. You want to do something, think about what are the parameters that you want your function to do. Like if you want to like send an email, you need to understand what is the email and what information do you want to send, as an example, right? So then if you go to a ChatGPT, as easy as creating, go to ChatGPT, say, help me create a function to send an email to customers based on this example. And if you specify, hey, this is for OpenAI API, and you say which parameters and so on, it will know it better to do. And there is even a custom GPT to do that, right? But I just want to show you, hey, it's not very hard to really do that. Just use ChatGPT, it will ask you to do that function, and it will write the code for you. Okay, try that. I can, okay, now it's kind of, because I didn't say probably it's for OpenAI, it will not do it properly. Use the custom GPT for that, okay? Then we have the voice flow setup where we have some starting points. Let me close this a bit. So here we have the voice flow setup where I have a Blue Coffee bot. This has the starting conditions, right? And it tells, okay, which are the options for the user to take. You just personalize that. And then you have one webhook where you send the data. And this is where we also do the thread ID. So we capture here the thread ID. So every time you send a new message, it will go to the exact same thread, and the AI will continue the same conversation. And then there we go. We go to Make, right? So what does it happen in Make? So in Make, we have what we call a webhook. So this is an instant trigger. So whenever you send data to this link that we're creating now, so I'm going to create a new one, just say like AI bot, for example, and then I get a link. So all the data that will be sent to this link, it will show up in this scenario, all right? So once we get the data from that link, we go to OpenAI. Message an assistant. And here, okay, we create a connection. We need to select the assistant that was just built. As you can see, I have some here. And then very, very importantly, all the functions that were defined inside the assistant, you will see it here, right? So I have the different functions, and then the make module is expecting us to provide a URL, right? So what that URL is, if we build a function, for example, I have here create authorization code, we have a function, we start again with a webhook, we have a simple generate code where we do like a generate random code, we put that in a database and respond back, right? So then all I need to do is copy this address, the link from here, go back to the scenario and put it here, right? So with that, and then I complete all the setup of my module. I'll jump into my initial scenario, not to spend like 10 minutes configuring this, but you can see here all the setup of the bot, which is all the different functions. You define the message connected to the webhook. You define your somewhere here, the assistant, and that's it. We get the message and we reply back.
Awesome.
Right. So then if I go back to voice flow for a second, if I didn't lose that, okay. So let's run it once, right? So I could run this directly on the website, or you can run it directly here in Webflow, in voice flow. So once somebody is pushing this, I need help with my order, I would say, hi, can you give me the status of my order?
Demos always break, so I'm curious if it's actually gonna work. Never works in live demo.
You know how that is. The demo gods sometimes with us, the demo gods sometimes without us. So we'll get, you see, it was already triggered, right? To help you with your order status, I will need the order reference, or I can provide something to authenticate myself, right? So let me just go quickly, right, into the chatbot, right? Here, I'm going to discard. You see, it was a few seconds ago, we had this running and this generated the answer, right? So you get that code generated here. Now, if I put, hey, this is my email for authentication, it will send me an email for that. So it will start using the get function and the other functions to really power that. Okay, so just to wrap up on how this is done, we have the voice flow. Again, that's messaging the scenario. Voice flow will send the data to Make. Make will get it over a webhook, use the OpenAI module to computate the answer, right? The AI will decide if it knows the answer. For example, at the beginning, based on instruction, it will just tell you, hi, I'm here to support you with your order. I need your order number, right? Or if it needs to do something, it will go do that action on those functions.
Brilliant. And I think, like, I mean, in that example you were showing using OpenAI, but like obviously you can use other AI apps, and Make has multiple AI apps that you can use if you prefer others than OpenAI. And then the last step that you mentioned, which is the functions, right? So this is where you can identify what different actions you might be performing. So you might be implementing that in another website, which is not an e-commerce, right? So there is no orders, but you want to add a new contact in your CRM, for example. So this is up to you to configure what kind of action you want this bot to perform.
Sure. I mean, there are different ways to implement this depending on the AI that you're running with or using, because OpenAI has this API that's managing the thread for you. If you're using another API that does not have an AI that does not have a thread handling, then you need to manage that yourself. So you need to create a database with the messages, feedback those messages toward the assistant, right? So there are different ways to implement this. But yes, hypothetically, you could do this, achieve it with any AI that has an API.
Awesome, great. And TB, you said like this agent is live right now, right? It's still bringing you results, bringing you revenue, hopefully, right?
Yes, it should be. And that's why I tested inside VoiceFlow, because if you go to our website, my team just transitioned last week from PrestaShop to Shopify. And when I went there today before the testing to see, okay, I'm going to do this demo on, I saw it was not there. So I need to embed the code off, and that's going to take a few hours, but we'll put actually a few minutes, not hours. We'll put it there, and you're going to test it live if you want to.